A lot of veterans open a VA denial letter, feel that gut punch, and do the exact same thing next. They file again, same claim, same evidence, same story, and a few months later, they get the same letter back, not because the VA is out to get them, not because they didn't try hard enough, because nothing in the file actually changed. Today, I'm going to show you what to do in the space between the denial and your next move, because that space is where you either identify the real problem or risk repeating it. By the end of this video, you'll know what your denial letter is actually trying to tell you, how to find the real evidence gap behind it, and why the next form you file matters a lot less than what you put inside it. The denial happened. You opened the letter, you saw the word denied, and something in you wanted to fight back immediately. That reaction makes sense. You put in the work, you told the truth, you believed the evidence would speak for itself. So when the answer comes back no, it feels personal. It is not personal. It means that, based on the evidence and rules the VA applied, the reviewer did not find enough to grant that issue. Sometimes the evidence is incomplete. Sometimes the connection was not clearly established. And sometimes the veteran believes the VA made an error using the evidence already in the file. Your decision letter should help you identify which problem you're actually dealing with. Here's something worth saying clearly. Denied does not mean ignored. It does not mean the VA disregarded everything you sent in. It means, in the reviewer's eyes, the file did not yet meet what the rating criteria requires. That is different from being ignored, and that difference matters because it changes what you do next. Here's where veterans lose ground. They take that frustration and turn it into action fast. They file again without identifying what was missing or what the VA may have gotten wrong. Same claim, same evidence package, no clear correction, and they may end up receiving the same result again. Not because they did anything wrong on purpose, because nothing in the file changed. Filing again is not a strategy, it is a reflex. And a reflex is not the same thing as a decision. Your frustration is valid. It does not need to disappear. It just does not need to drive your next decision. Before you touch a new form, go back to that decision letter. Somewhere in there, the VA is telling you why. Not because they're hiding the ball, because that's how the system explains its reasoning. Look for the reason connected to your specific condition. Look for what the VA said the evidence did or did not show. This is not legal reading. This is plain reading. Read it slowly. Read it more than once. This is the same skill from the first video in this series. Every decision letter has clues. This one has them too. Once you understand the reason, ask yourself one question. What does the file show right now? And what does it still need to show? That gap is the target. Let's make that real. Say you filed for a knee condition and the VA said the evidence did not show a clear connection to your time in service. That is not the VA saying your knee is fine. That is the VA saying the connection was not documented clearly enough. Maybe an important service treatment record was not clearly addressed. Maybe the file contains the diagnosis and the in-service event, but it does not contain a clear medical connection between the two. Or maybe you believe the VA overlooked or misread evidence that was already in the record. Those are different problems, and they may require different next steps. That is the gap. That is the target. That sounds small, but it is not. The VA can only work with what is actually in front of them. Your job is not to prove how much you've suffered. Your job is to help the record clearly show your reality. Here's the mission shift. You are not asking, what do I file next? You are asking, what does the evidence still need to say? That one shift changes everything about what you do next. Veterans who skip this step often refile the same package with a new form stapled to it. Veterans who slow down here usually end up filing something stronger because they finally understand what was missing the first time. There are different paths available once you know what needs to change. Supplemental claims, higher level reviews, appeals. Each one serves a different situation. Which lane fits your situation is a real question, but it's not today's question. Today's question is simpler. Do you actually understand what the VA said was missing? If you're not fully sure, that is the next thing to fix, not the form. If you're still staring at that denial letter and the reason feels unclear, that's exactly what the free VA letter translator is built for. It will not tell you which form to file. It will help you understand, in plain English, what the letter is actually saying. So the decision in front of you is based on understanding, not guesswork. Once that part is clear, The free VA claim readiness resources at veteranclaimsmadeeasy.com/resources can help you get organized before you take your next step. Here's your 48-hour challenge. Pull out your decision letter. Write down, in your own words, the specific reason the VA gave for the denial. Not the whole letter, just that reason. If you cannot state it clearly, that is your starting point, not your filing. A denial is not a signal to file again right away. It is a signal to understand what still needs to be fixed. Slow down, read the letter, find the gap, then decide what your next step actually needs to accomplish. In the next briefing, we'll look at one of those paths directly, a supplemental claim, and talk about when it actually makes sense and when it does not. Start with the free via letter translator, linked below. Understand the letter first, then decide what comes next. My goal is never to mislead, only to empower you with accurate, honest, and actionable information. Semper Fidelis, and God bless.